Hello and welcome to episode 18 of Creative Walks. This is Pedro Bonatto, and today I wanted to talk about this idea I had earlier today while I was walking from a dance studio where I was recording a video, and something very interesting happened while I was there, and I wanted to share it with you. It's about carving out time to actually sit and think and work on a problem or an idea. If we try to do things on our computers, on our phones, or whenever we are literally online, how many distractions actually take away from our ability to think through problems, ideas, or map out different things that we're working on? And with the constant interruptions and with the constant looking into our phones for all sorts of different things, and God forbid if you have your notifications on for a bunch of things, it's basically impossible to carve out even 30 minutes of time to sit and think of one thing and one thing only. I think the best minds of our world today are working hard to get you to stay on their websites, be it Facebook, YouTube, or whatever else. And there is this movement to go towards this unplugging, having screen-free days, which is something I haven't done and I would like to try. And even going the opposite way, which is like working on your meditation when you don't think about anything. And I'm sure there is a lot of value to that kind of activity, even though I can't meditate for more than a week straight. But I realized something even simpler that we can do, that is get a notebook, a simple pen, and just work out an idea, sketch it out. Not trying to be formal or trying to just jot words or things like that, but actually try to visually represent the thing that you're trying to accomplish or the problem you're trying to work through. And I think there's a lot of advantages on doing this in an analog way, not being in front of a computer. I've tried many times even to use mind map software to come up with ideas, but there's so many interesting, cool things that can happen on your computer or on your phone that you must be like a Jedi mind to be able to carve that amount of time to have something really useful done. And one of the things that happened to me today twice during the day was I was sitting down with a notebook and I just worked on it. I put my computer aside, I put my phone aside, and I just worked on a specific thing that I was trying to get at. And at first, it was boring. And not only that, I thought, I should do some research about this thing or that thing. And it had that lure of going on Google, YouTube, or whatever website to try to find the information that you need, or at least that you think you need to complete that thinking process. And I think most of the time we have enough information to make an informed decision as long as the project is already a little bit further, or at least you have done some research without even noticing. What I recommend today is to try to carve out, fight for that time to really work on one project and have no distractions around you. Think of it as if you were grounded. Like you were a kid and you were, did something bad in your class and you have to go to the principal's office or to detention. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. You are in detention. So what can you do there? You can doodle or you can just think. But I think when you think with a piece of paper in front of you, it gives you ideas that I think you would not have, at least not in that form, if it was done in a digital way. Incidentally, this idea came also when I was rereading some of the writings from David Allen, the guy that created GTD, Getting Things Done, that I mentioned in a previous episode. Part 2 of that series is coming soon this week. But what he said was how this combination of digital and analog technology to capture the things that have your attention is very powerful. He was mentioning how you'll have different ideas with a chalkboard on the sidewalk or with a fountain pen on a nice piece of paper. And I think sometimes even we get this idea that, I'm going to get this nice notebook and I'm going to write and I'm going to do this. And it becomes like the china in your mom's house, like all that silverware that it's saved only for special occasions, for when the Pope visits or something. And I think having like a simple notebook that you can just tear pages out and you don't care how much you use it, you will actually have so many cool ideas with that. And at the same time, I highly recommend, at least you're like me that has a funny fetish for cool pens, get a cool pen that you can play around with. Because sometimes I will just write something down or start working on it just because I have it there and I like the feel of the pen in my hand. So with that, this has been Creative Walks for today. And if you listen to yesterday's episode, don't forget that for the listeners for this show until the end of the year, I actually want to give you a gift with one of my photographs. If you go back to episode 17, I talk about it. But basically, if you go to pedrobonatto.com/gift, you can get a cool postcard with one of my images. And maybe you can start your fine art photography collection if you haven't yet. So with that, I'll see you tomorrow.